let's do some healing. So to get us in the mood, let's do some thinking about healing before we actually do the deed. And the thinking that I thought that I would talk to you about today is how to use our bodies to enhance distance healing. And so I'd like to give you this exercise. I'd like you to pretend like we are not inside air, you're actually inside water, and somehow you can magically breathe. And I'd like you to start swaying back and forth like this. And I'd like you to pretend like if you were in water, you could feel resistance. You know, that'd be like pushing and then pushing, pushing, pushing. There actually is resistance in the air, but we're just so used to it, we don't register it as resistance. I'd like you to pretend like you can see, as you go back and forth like this, that you can see ripples of energy, as if it were a fluid that you were going back and forth in, rather than air. And there's of course air currents, but we're not, usually they're too subtle to be aware of. All right, so just feel that, and now change your trajectory, and pretend like as you go one way and the other that you're not going through air, you're going through water, like you're in a swimming pool or something. You're feeling the drag and the currents and the eddies that get going from your movement. Okay, good. I'm going somewhere with this, so thank you for hanging in. All right. Now go in a circle, kind of pivoting, and then feel it, and then go the other way. So what we're doing is we're using this swaying back and forth and moving to really interact with the space around us, using our imagination to imagine that we're in water. And then we can actually feel what it would be. We can imagine what it would be like if we were in water and we were moving. Okay, now just move any way you want. And now be still. And as you're still, feel the ripples that are going around you from that movement. It's almost like if you were in water, you'd be able to see the ripples of water coming out as you suddenly are still after you've been moving. Just pretend that you can feel that. Can anybody feel that that's here? I know I'm almost pushing you guys, right? Good morning, Rocky and Lisa and Dorothy and Lydia and Melinda. All right, so we're doing this movement exercise. So let's do that again. Let's start going back and forth one way or another and pretend like you're not sitting in air, but you're sitting in a swimming pool and there's water going back and forth. This is going to help us with the distance healing, so hang in there. All right. Okay, so Dorothy gets a strong feeling. Lydia says, okay, isn't that interesting? Yeah, amazing. And go the other way. Okay. All right, so, and now be still again. And you can feel the currents going around you. All right. Okay, so where I think the average Muggle distance healer, who's not as cool as me, might say is that you want to move so that you create currents that then go out and amplify the healing. And I think that would help to a certain extent, but I like to take it a step further since we're all in the Cool Healers Club and we're much more sophisticated than that. What we're going to do is we're going to just feel for those currents and then move in response to them. So instead of us generating the current from our ego, so if I just decide to move back and forth and I'm in this swimming pool of air, I'm sort of making the currents happen, okay? And a certain amount of connection with the unseen happens with that. But if I'm just sitting here still, noticing the currents, suddenly I'm responding to something, I'm not creating it. And I would posit that this is a more powerful stance to have when you're distance healing, because you're very actively present, but you're not making it happen. And as soon as we're making it happen, we're like kind of bossing God around, and it's what I call horizontal magic. It will work, but maybe not the way you want it to, because you're sort of in charge. And I don't know about you, but I don't know how to cure cancer consciously. Even though I participated with many cures, it doesn't come from my conscious finagling of things. So now what I'd like you to do is open your heart to the possibility of healing for you and for others. And maybe you're a cancer patient on the call, or maybe you just care about cancer patients, or you just are in the Cool Distance Healers Club. All right? And open your heart to the possibility of healing, and really feel that you're opening your heart. And now you're opening your heart not to make something happening, you're just doing it because it's nice. Okay? It's nice to do that. And it does open you to possibilities, but you're not creating the possibilities by opening your heart. You're just opening to what's already there, opening to the grace of the universe, so to speak. Okay? So now with our hearts nicely open to the possibility for healing, I'd like you to feel that the healing that you are asking for is present all around you, in you. It doesn't really come from a place of space, but it interacts with space because that's how we're focused with our consciousness. And I'd like you to just feel that the healing is there. And I'd like you to start spinning, if you know how to spin. If you don't know how to spin, don't worry about it. And when I do that, I start responding to something, and I start feeling like moving a little bit. You can see I'm going back and forth a little bit. It's like I'm dancing with what is there. I'm not creating it with my moving it. I'm responding to it. So I want you to experiment with that, because I'm going to ask you to do that in a fuller way once we get into our guided visualization, where we go into our inner sanctuary and go and actually do the healing. But right now we're actually starting the healing, because anytime you open to the possibility of healing and you connect with it, it's happening. Okay, good. Good, good. Oh, and Joseph has a theory about multidimensional fluid vortexes. I would love to hear you write about that in the Facebook group. I just do it. I haven't really theorized about it. It's just a good imagery. So yeah, good. All right. So does anybody feel themselves impelled to move a little bit when they open their hearts to healing? Do you feel like you're responding to something? Anyway, as usual, this is a grand experiment. I have no idea if my squirrely ways of thinking about these things help. I of course hope that they're helpful. All right, good. All right. All right. So I thought that this image of water and the air around us could communicate, or could not communicate, explain something to us that we already know in our bodies, that maybe cognitively we don't quite know. Melinda's moving, good. And Lydia says, yes, indeed, it's like this. Okay, yeah, like this. Okay, good. All right, great. All right, now we're going to leave our YouTube audience, because these get, the teaching portion of these videos get put onto YouTube, so you can always find them later. And if you're watching this on YouTube, if you want to join us for the actual healing, you need to join the Spirit Gate Cancer Support Facebook group. So now we're going to go in and do the actual healing, and we have an amazing group of healers that show up regularly, and it's pretty cool what happens. Be in the Cool Healers Club. All right.